Good morning. Good morning. Welcome this beautiful, beautiful sunny morning. Isn't it just great out? Absolutely perfect. And so, being that it's perfect outside, we're so glad that you're here this morning to share the service. And at this wonderful center, as I was driving down here, I just thought, oh my God, what would I do without as our center and centers like ours that we can go to and feel part of a community and supported and uplifted. So, and thank you for being part of that. And is there anyone here for the first time today? All right. Okay. Back there, Donna. First time today. First time, comma, today. So.
That's right.
And so the wonderful music you've been hearing this morning, for those of you who are here for the first time and maybe second or third time and have forgotten, this is Brent and Darcy. And so. And our speaker today, our beloved Don Kerr. Yes. He is such an awesome presence, as all of you know that. And I'm Julie, so I will be here for a little while after the service. If any of you have any questions, and Reverend Don will be here for a little while after the service. We do have a board meeting, so it'll be a long time. And there is some refreshments downstairs, as most of you know, and they looked like really good. If you haven't had your sugar high this morning, head down there. And next week is this Super Sunday, and there's a sign-up sheet out in the library if you'd like to make soup or bread and bring it. And that soup and bread last week were so good and so nutritious. I think it's one of the best things that we have going, and thank you, ladies, for creating that. And be sure to make a little note at your soup about contents, because some people have allergies or just don't eat some certain things. So yeah, just a little blurb at the bottom, but feel inclined and inspired to bring a soup that's your favorite to make. And also, there's plenty of volunteer opportunities here at the center. So. And it's not like doing something that's not your talent or your love, but if there's something you love to do and you'd like to just come up to us and say, I see a need and may I fill it? So, and we'll have a time limit on that. We'll have an agreement so that it's not for the rest of your natural life. I think... I know. Sometimes when we sign up for something, people think, oh my God, I'm going to have to die to get out of this. But you really won't. We'll make that good for you. So, all right. So let us now, in great joy, stand and sing.
All right. Sometimes I like to, if you can, you don't, do what you need to. But the bottom line is I love to pick songs that you don't have to read anything. This one's easy. There's no words. I know, some people that's terrifying.
No words?
Well, there are words to the song. There's no words in your program. What, is grammar police today? What? I was going to be an English teacher. I know this one. Anyway, and so it's very easy. What would happen, just hypothetical, if every second of every day you could make a new choice? I try to remember that. And I like the idea that I can do that I can say, right now, I'm just going to be walking around in heaven. And this one is my idea of heaven. It's called I'm Choosing Heaven Today. Are you ready? It's very easy. I'm choosing heaven today. And sing it again. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm walking around. I am walking around in heaven right now. Oh, I'm choosing heaven today. Sing it again. You can great pair. I'm choosing love today. Well, I'm choosing love today. What? I'm choosing love today. I am walking around in heaven right now, and I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing truth. I'm choosing truth today. What are you choosing? I'm choosing truth today. I am walking around in heaven right now. Oh, I'm choosing truth today. I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking around in heaven right now. Oh, I'm choosing heaven today. Slow it down. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm making this choice, conscious choice this minute. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking around in heaven right now. Oh, I'm choosing heaven today. Make a choice.
Yes. Wow. Are you awake? Good. And as Ruth tonight, practitioner Ruth tonight will do our centering prayer, just want to remind you that if you see a shawl like Ruth has on, that the practitioners are available after the service for prayer. Just grab them and they can pray with you.
However, most of our practitioners haven't worn their stole today.
They're incognito.
So we've got Kathy and Donna and the other one, Cheryl. That's the old brain. So if we'll come together and center your minds and your heaven right here and right now, and let us be joyful. Let us be thankful. Let us know that God is all there is, and all there is God, love, center of all being. And as we begin this day with our song and our gathering, I know that all is well, and I know that the words spoken, the ideas presented, are exactly what you need to hear and feel and take hold of and move forward with it. And I know that the blessings that come are ours to accept. And as I leave these words to the law of love, join me in saying, and so there is. And now, if you would again join me in speaking, within your program, there is an affirmation. I know we are all together in this thing called life. So I stand on this truth, knowing we all have our role to play in creating a more loving world, treating each other with authenticity in large and small ways. I am giving my best to this role, and so it is.
And now, Jim, we have our readings this morning, and these inspirational readings tend to be so powerful. Yeah, so thank you for being willing to share with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When pondering today's reading, I'm reminded of a quote by Dr. Serge Kahili King of the Huna philosophy. It says, "Oka honua ka mea au I mana o ai." The world is what you think it is. The reading from Science of Mind magazine is titled Mind Over Matter. Thomas Troward states, the general direction in which we all want to go is that of getting more out of life than we ever got out of it. We want to be more alive in ourselves and to get all sorts of improved conditions in our environment. Ernest Holmes states, to learn how to live for each person by thinking can bring into their experience whatsoever they desire, if they think correctly, and becomes a living embodiment of their thoughts. One of the greatest pieces of advice I ever received was simple. Don't believe everything you think. I didn't make that up. While it is simple, it is not always easy. I notice my thoughts and awareness can fall into little rabbit holes. Sometimes those rabbit holes are sweet, cute, and pleasant. Other times they are dark, dismal, and unpleasant. Learning to observe thoughts individually and as an overall patterning to avoid and transform those negative rabbit holes is a central practice for those of us seeking to change our lives for the better. Observation then becomes the key practice. It is a willingness to be radically honest with myself about what I really think about myself and my conditions to discover the changes I want to make. The dissonance between what I think, and the actual conditions I experience is the first rabbit hole to explore. Upon further discovery, I can begin to change the trend of my thinking and change the trend of what I experience. This is a cornerstone of our teaching. However, it takes awareness, honesty, and discipline to apply it to the conditions of our living. The first step is the willingness to see the truth of what I've investing in with my thoughts and thus building patterns of attraction that manifest in my experience. What I have not let myself see is usually what is winning out and creating the dissonance between thought and experience. Today's affirmation reads, transcending my old patterns, I am willing to see and be present to my actual patterns of thought. Thank you.
Thoughts matter, hey? Thoughts matter. And it's interesting. Recently I had somebody come up to me, very, very kind. They were being really nice, but they said, the few times that I've been here, you tend to do secular music. And I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, you know, they're not normal church songs. And I said, well, that explains that. Neither one of us are normal, so we're not going to do anything normal. And just who we are. But here's what I really think. I've been a practicing musician since I was a child. And what I know about songs is that people sneak in really good things. I like it. I like the idea that some of our most favorite secular songs have so much to say. Things like On a Clear Day. Have you ever read through that? I mean, I heard it from when I was a little kid. I thought I knew the song until I sang it. And then I looked at it and went, wow, that was sneaky. Yeah, good job. Lean on Me, Don't Worry, Be Happy. There's a ton of them that have this secret meaning. And that's because music goes to our soul before almost anything else does. I mean, if you've ever gotten an earworm, you know what I'm talking about. The song sticks with you and it's just there and you're like, I'm sick of this, quit singing that song. And it can be really interesting some days. This is one of those songs that came in as a secular song, but if you've even heard it once, you know it's not. It is a sneaking in of really cool new thought ideas. The idea that I can hold the truth for you when you don't have the truth, when you don't see who you are, and you don't know who you are, and you don't know your connections, I hold it for you. And that is one of the most beautiful things you can do for someone. And the song is called True Colors. You with your sad eyes, don't be discouraged, don't but I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me a smile then. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, call me up and you know I'll always be there. 'Cause I'll see your true colors shining through. Sing with me. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Go ahead, brother. Close your eyes and see someone you should sing this to. 'Cause I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. When this world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear, call me up, because I know you'll be there. And I'll see your true colors shining through. I'll see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Yep.
Oh my God. That was so nice. Such true colors shining through. Oh my gosh. We all have that experience at times, and we really have that experience with someone we love and ourselves too. Thank you, Darcy and Brent. Oh yeah, July. Am I the only one who thinks this year seems to be just flying by? It just, how did 4th of July come and go so fast? I never set off one firecracker. Yeah, just here it came, but I don't anyhow, so. Well, anyhow, moving into this July Sunday morning, I hope to contribute to your being glad that, and happy that you decided to come here today and share your gladness with others. So welcome, welcome. And we always welcome back friends if they leave us and go to faraway places like Minnesota or someplace. I'd like to say, Mariah and Darwin, hello, welcome back. We have someone else, too, who's been gone for a while now. She's back. Helen, nice to see you again. Yeah. And Julie, gosh, I'm glad you're here today. Reverend Moore is here, sitting in the back, holding that sacred space. Thank you, Reverend Moore. Well, anyhow, if you were here last Sunday, we heard a practitioner, Cheryl Guest, one of our wonderful practitioners, speak to an unusual subject with the title of Monsters Incorporated. Remember that? Oh my gosh. I'll maybe commenting on that a little later, but today our topic of the entire monthly theme about speaking truth to circumstances. That's the whole theme for the month. Speaking truth to the circumstances, no matter what they may be, what we mean by circumstances. When I was a young lad, that's been a while back, there was a radio and a TV program. Now, you're all probably too young to remember this, but it was called Truth or Consequences. All right. Oh, gosh. All right. In the program, I think, if I remember, if the contestant did not answer the question truthfully, or was found out that they were sneaking a wrong answer in, hoping that they could slide by, there was a consequence. Now, a consequence defined is, I think, I remember reading something about it, it's an effect or an outcome from acts or decisions made from false or mistaken or untrue knowledge. So sometimes they're accidentally untruths. Usually it's not very pleasant or favorable. A consequence is not favorable. But a consequence is usually negative, isn't it, I think, as I think back. But it has the elements of like a reaction or circumstances, you know. They kind of go either way. Think about circumstance and consequence here. Good or bad, not so good. But either one, the circumstances or the consequences, can be made positive by the power of truth. That's what I'm getting at here, all that running around here. When we find ourselves in a certain circumstance, it's usually influenced, really, by truth or the opposite, untruth. If there's such a word. Is there such a word as untruth? Untruth? Non-truth, untruth, not true. Truth lives in light. It's transparent. Falsehood usually looks for corners to kind of crouch in and spring out, hiding for a while, and it's like a boogeyman that comes right out and upsets the harmony of life, where truth will make our human intentions, like I say, transparent. Nothing to hide. Truth lives in the power of light. In fact, false can't endure the power of truth. You know, there's a biblical scripture, one of my favorite scriptures, in fact. It deals with falsehoods. And one of those scriptures speaks to how we can tell if a person or persons are being honest and trustworthy with their portrayal of themselves. Like in this thing, the biblical scripture, they're talking about false prophets or right-on prophets or whatever. How can you tell falsehood? Well, the scripture says it like this. I like this. It says, a good tree cannot and will not bring forth bad fruit. And neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. So therefore, by the fruits of their actions ye shall know them. That really says it. They got to walk their talk. Whatever or whoever that we're trying to determine trustworthiness with, actions speak louder than words, do they not? Yeah, you bet. So Emerson said it, quoted something like, well, this is the exact quote. Let me look it up here. Oh, yeah. What you are speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Got that. If they do not walk their talk, we should consider watching for more activity and information to show up. So we can start with ourselves on that, you know? We really can. Standing in truth is the same as standing on higher ground. It's kind of like I feel about that. Things come into view through truth and can be trusted. And trust bears good results in our speech and in our actions. It foundations trust. Agreements come into view, then harmony can grow with confidence. I'm reading that. Has anyone ever heard of the book Don Miguel Ruiz wrote, you know, the 4 agreements? Remember that? You remember the first agreement? Yeah, has to do with truth all the way, to be impeccable with your word. So how can we do that? Well, as an example, I'd like to quote a friend of mine who travels the world, And they said this. They just live a life that way. I just admire them so much. To stand in truth and to be impeccable with your word comes from one's authentic self, the true self, the real self, the God self, the one that's centered in its knowledge of what it is. No pretenses, no performing, no manipulating, and to tell the truth all the time with no lies to remember. That's a good reason for telling the truth, isn't it? And that's truth as integrity, to be the same person in every setting. So combining integrity and being honest gives, I think, a life in which we say that we can stand on truth and stand in truth. There's not a difference to that. Standing in is being, standing on is the foundation. Think about it. Not having to make excuses. What did I tell that person? What did I tell them? What was that? Well, got to cover my bases here. It's pretty simple when you tell the truth. It's grounding, and it's pretty unshakable. The truth stands on its own. Doesn't need any help. It gives us authentic power to be capable of apologizing, for an example, without strings attached. Or to forgive without strings attached. To me, it's interesting to think about how we, in our human nature, trained by the world as we are, and developing first appearance judgments as we do, if we don't understand what's happening to us by circumstances or situations that we find ourselves that we don't like in, what we do so many times, we just try to blame something or someone. And if that's not working, to alleviate our situation, so many times we may just decide, write it off as bad luck. The luck of the draw. Forget it. Oh, yeah, nice to forget it, but just luck, bad luck. Now, I'm not going to ask if you believe in luck or not, okay? But the term, good luck, is used quite often in our language relationship with others. We find ourselves saying to someone a lot of times, who say they're about to enter into a new kind of an enterprise or something, well, I wish you luck. I wish you good luck on that. Or, if we've been talking to them and we think they have little chance of succeeding at that, what we consider to be an obvious, difficult task, we'll say it this way. We'll say, well, good luck with that. Yeah. In fact, I think if you look it up on Google or what have you, I think I did that a week ago. I think the statistics are that about 70% of folks believe in luck. Good luck or bad luck. Luck be a lady tonight, the song, Frank Sinatra. Let me think here. Did I ever tell you my favorite joke about luck? I don't know if I did or not, but I'm going to tell it again, see what you think of this. Let me get it out here. It's about a 55-year-old man. He grew up in a family of 5. He was married 5 years to a woman who had 5 children before meeting him. Very happily married. And he had an income of $55,555.55 per year. So obviously, what was his lucky number? 5. Well, a friend told him that a horse named Lucky 5 is going to be running in the number 5 race at the Kentucky Derby. So the man decides to withdraw his savings account of $5,555, goes to the races and bets it all on Lucky 5. And sure enough, the horse comes in 5th place. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's get back to our subject of standing on truth. Truth. I remember a movie titled A Few Good Men. Anybody remember that movie? Was that in the 90s, maybe, way back then? Tom Cruise. He looks so young. And Jack Nicholson was in it. Tom Cruise was a young, ambitious prosecuting attorney for the military, and Jack Nicholson, he was playing the part of a stubborn, confrontational Marine colonel on the stand, testifying in a military court about the truth of what happened in a violent training mission where one Marine crew was killed, subject trying to get to the truth of combat situation. But he just bristles at the possibility of his integrity being challenged for not telling the truth, and he bellows out in his military, authoritative voice. You probably remember the scene. And he shouts it out. He says, "You can't handle the truth." Well, that scene, to me, in that movie, I think is an example of how truth is sometimes twisted by fearful thinking and mistakenly portrayed as something that could do great damage if it had to be revealed. That was his position. But that perspective, what that comes from? That just simply comes from narrow-minded fear and not trusting in the truth. Not trusting the truth. However, there's a reason that the statement that, you've heard it, there's a reason we have this statement that's so bold and with us. It says, "Ye shall know the truth, and that truth will set you free." Something like that. I don't know if Jesus said it in that way, but that's what he's the one quoting that. And because it's a powerful spiritual fact, truth is a powerful spiritual fact, and usually facts follow the truth. And a powerful spiritual fact I'm going to give you right now is that, now catch this, there really are no secrets in the universe. No, the universe is not holding back any secrets, and life is not holding back secrets. Anyone who will seek the truth. We hear so much about, you see books all the time, The Secret of Success, The Secret to a Diet, The Secrets to Happiness, The Secret to a Great Marriage. All of these have secrets that we're supposed to learn. Well, these are headlines. Just headlines, attention grabbers, to steer our attention and interest in a certain direction by whoever or whatever is trying to influence us. I think you know that. Truth is not seeking to make us privy to a secret. It's not letting something out of the bag so we can gain more power for something. That's not the idea. Truth is not found in the field of secrets, waiting to be revealed. Let me think about that. Just think about that. Talk about that. A secret is something that's kept hidden on purpose, something kept from the knowledge of others and privy only to a few, maybe, who can keep a secret. But life embraces all creation. Life holds no secrets. It's not a matter of secrets, because life contains the indwelling characteristics of the source of all life. Got them right there. And life holds authentic possibilities, always unfolding, working through natural order. And curiosity opens that door. Through the laws, too, of principles, right? From anyone who's brave enough to be curious. Curiosity is our North Pole. Yeah, a North Pole pulling us forward with the movement of the universe, expanding, on the move. Nature of life is never static, is it? It's not. What is the one thing you can count on in life? Ooh, things will change. Yeah. The infinite intelligent energy moving along divine right order has a powerful purpose to expand its expressions of life always infinitely, such as you and me. Yeah. And it needs the truth which sets us free to evolve. Yeah. And continue in the process of co-creation and all creation, creating from form after form after form, whether that be a star or a planet or a starfish or a whale. It's based on the true nature of spirit involving itself in this universal creating. But here's the truth we can stand on. Here's a truth we can stand on. Put the soapbox down here now. As complex spiritual beings as we are, co-creators with spirit, as we definitely are, or the source of all that was, or ever can be, always indwelling in me, in you, we're creating without bondage, you guys. We have no strings attached, no bondage, to all we can be, standing on the truth. Last week, Cheryl, the practitioner, spoke to this truth about that the only monsters in our lives are truthfully only figments or perspectives of our own minds. Those tangled beliefs, that keep us from our magnificent living, happiness, emotions, and mind tangled up in all kinds of beliefs. As the free will beings that we are, we get to choose with and or stand on truth. We get to choose that. My gosh, that's a great thing to have. Now, I'm going to just share another little sliver of thread of truth with you right now. If we wish to allow ourselves to believe that as part of our human condition, that we're going to at times, we're going to experience human pain and suffering. Now, the Buddha kind of taught a little bit angle on that, didn't he? About suffering, pain, suffering being optional. But doing it not because we deserve pain or suffering, we can know that, or being punished by something that we didn't do or did not do. No, we have lessons to learn in this physical world. Yeah, you bet. The physical world has laws of its own, However, if we use only physical means, if we decide to use only physical means and ways to learn those lessons or to heal what's crying out for us for healing, much of the learning and the healing will lack the completion that we need or desire. Now, that's something to know about. And then what happens? We just repeat and repeat until we find that truth which does set us free. And here's where we learn one of our most useful lessons. I learned, anyhow, it's from one of my most useful lessons. It's the introduction and the realization of spiritual practice. Yes, there is such a thing, folks, as spiritual practice. Spiritual practice can neutralize that spell of illusion that we fall into under the physical world, trying to influence us to believe that we have so much to do, so many demons to slay, so many wars to win. You see, it's a common happening because of the way we grow up from our beginning as a child. And there's nothing wrong with childhood. I loved my childhood. Some things I had to change when I got to be an adult, though, about my beliefs. It's behavior controlling. It's necessary. We should do this, and we should not do that, and we do this, and we don't do that, and that kind of thing. And in so many ways, but we're taught to be careful and be fearful, and don't make waves. Don't make waves. Don't get a big head, those kinds of things. But there is a way of living out loud without boorish intrusion or splashing all over other people's lives and intruding into others' peace of mind. There's a way of living out loud. And this way is opening the doors of truth by discovering how to embrace what we call spiritual practices. Yeah. Now, with spiritual practices, we find the lessons of truth full of care. That's fine. Don't be fearful, just be careful. Full of care is the divine urging us to be true. We become compassionate. Be true to our authentic self, that connection that's always true to us. What is our authentic self? And we talk about that. Anybody got any ideas? Well, I don't know if this is your idea or that, but I thought this through, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. I think our authentic self is the original us, that original you and me, which greets, we did it this morning. This original self greets this way, Namaste. Namaste. The divine in me sees and honors the divine in you, greets and meets life on the level where we can see past the falsehood, the frenzy, the frenetic and the false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R, got that? Not forget everything and run, but F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. Look fear in the face and just move right through any thunder and lightning, right to what is called the essence of a situation, of a circumstance. To speak truth to any circumstance, no matter what it may be. So here's the real deal. I wrote this down too, because I don't want to forget this. This is Noble Arnie. Spiritual practices, honest to God, hand to God, will change our thinking and change our life. Change your thinking and change your life. And I don't mean to sound glib. And what do we mean by spiritual practices? Well, you know what I'm getting at. Usually most of us consider things like prayer, meditation, contemplative reading, and self-care. Self-care, taking care of self as spiritual practices. And of course, that's all true. Since we live in a world that of physical appearances and human needs with all sorts of challenges and causing us to face all sorts of circumstances, it truly does, we can get pulled off center, pulled off of our knowing the truth. A very human truth is that it's up to each of us to accept a greater reality of what we are more. We're more than the anxieties and the fears. We're more than the anger and disappointments and all of the circumstances piling up in our lives. You know that. You find that through spiritual practice. If you don't know it, you'll experience it through spiritual practice if you don't know it. For as long as we become, about the time we became self-aware as human beings, from that time we became searchers for answers. Yeah, we've been looking for ways. We've searched for ways to find self-mastery. We went with the truth of who and what we really are, and all that kind of thing. Our science here that we teach, the science of mind, for example, of this spiritual study that is so amazing, teaches us that truth is a high spiritual practice, state of knowing. Think of that. And it's very empowering. Definitely empowering. Truth empowers you. To stand on truth starts with our inner acceptance to knowing that in truth we are the expression of God. Yeah. It's that simple. Expression of God. Once we discover and know this and accept that it's true, we can begin to live and be this knowing that we are divine expressions of that one creative intelligence of all that is. We can know that we aren't accidents in the universe, that we're here with purpose. And you know what that does? That gives us boldness. It gives us confidence to love unconditionally by being love walking on this planet. We find the pathway to express our true self, our authentic me, the real original you. We can speak up and speak out. You read the Science of Mind magazine, and we had a great little reading from Jim here earlier. In the magazine, there's a fellow who writes articles occasionally. His name is Eugene Holden. He's a religious science practitioner. But he wrote in this month's Science of Mind magazine this statement. He said, living boldly out loud doesn't mean we get to say whatever is on our minds that might be hurtful. It means to live and express from our true colors, our true self, our God self, our true me, our true you, and choosing to be the light and the love of the divine. And no matter what comes up as a circumstance in our life, no matter, the truth is that it is calling us to love or be loved and light. And by choosing to believe and accept our oneness, I'm going to close down here on a couple of things. I've been doing a lot of yakking here, but I want to, I felt these words this week for what I'm talking about. I felt them, I really felt them. By choosing to believe and accept our oneness with this infinitely creating one source we call God. I like to call it God because that's what I grew up with. I tell you, we can neutralize the stories that blare out to us all the time, the outrage and mass shootings and the latest causes for alarms, turn our attention to the truth. And now we can let go of the hows and the whys, and something must be done or accomplished, and know from deep within that our desire for peace, our desire for love, our desire to succeed or have abundance of all good things is being fulfilled, because that presence, our true identity, will make itself known. Spirit will never be denied. I've heard that from the time I started coming to this chapel. Spirit cannot be denied. The law of the universe always shows itself in some way, and it's no secret that the universe is going to be satisfied, and that's why we can know that it always says yes. Always says yes. I'm through talking. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. That concept of knowing your oneness, knowing your connection to God, so that that connection that you know extends to everyone sitting next to you, and some people that you can't see, that are just there in the world, to know that connection. My mom wrote a song based on a poem by James Dillard Freeman called Oneness. And I share that today with you. Brett, I want to feel my oneness. I want to feel my oneness with something more than me. Myself in it, the foolish measure is an insufficiency. Oh, dear God, I don't request much, only to know there's something more, that by praying I can touch in me, that will open up the door to feel the power in that oneness, more than my only own, so that even in my solitude I need never feel alone. 'Cause in my loneliness is loneliness, until I see that I am one with God and God is one with me. Wholeness, I'm seeking holiness, so that even in my solitude I need never feel alone. 'cause in my loneliness, oh, with loneliness, until I see that I am one with you, and you are one with me. Wholeness, I'm seeking holiness, so that even in my solitude I need never feel alone, so that even in my solitude I need never, never, never feel alone.
Wow. Thank you, Darcy. You know, Darcy's mom was not only amazing songwriter, she was such a beautiful soul that came across in her songs. So I'm always love when Darcy sings one of them. And so may the ushers come forward. And I want to say something about, the offertory. And I know it's a time where you get to help support this spiritual community, and that's a wonderful sense of giving and being part of the community. But what I learned over the years is it's also a place for me to experience the depth of my own consciousness and what I believe about money. And we'll talk about that perhaps in a series later in the year about money. But it's a very sacred time, actually, and I don't like to just rush through this time. But as you prepare your gifts, we completely bless you and know that Spirit is working in you in wisdom, and it's a time it's also to be aware of your own consciousness and about how you feel. So make this a conscious time of giving. And yeah, okay, that's my sermon on that.
All right, we have a song again that you don't have to have the words. So we do that afterwards. Yeah, well, I did a little talking on that, didn't I? So thank you. Our offertory affirmation, which is powerful if we pay attention to the words. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you. There is nothing to need, hide from or fear. I am whole and complete, right now and right here. There is nothing to need, hide from or fear. I am whole and complete, right now and right here. Right now and right here. And that's all there is. There is nothing to need, hide from or fear. I am whole and complete, right now and right here. There is nothing to need, hide from or fear. I am whole and complete, right now and right here. Right now and right here.
Yes, it's right here and right now and right here. It's true. What you have just done is something that's standing on truth. The truth is that whatever you decide you want to do to help this community be a community that grows and continues to be prosperous and abundant as we are, we have an abundant mentality here, a atmosphere here that we have created. Thanks to Reverend Moore, when he first took over the reins of this chapel to be the senior minister. He's worked hard, and we've cooperated with him in every way to make sure that we have a community here that appreciates this being their spiritual home. So thank you for what you contributed today, and blessed we are, and so it is.
Before we say our final words, there's a correction on the back. Next week's topic isn't about Shiva. I'm talking about self-hypnosis, and I came across this many, many years ago, and I'm very excited to talk about this with you next week. So how are we hypnotized in our lives? So I love Shiva, but that it will not be what we're talking about. So, and let us stand now and say the power of protection, and then our peace song. So the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let everybody get to their seats.
I hold your hand, yes. Keep it warm.
Okay. And see. Let's do this. Free at last. Yeah, actually, it's been good. Actually, I've taken some time and not getting everything done that I thought I was going to get done, but I don't care.